Welcome to The Human Side of Money, a show dedicated to equipping financial advisors with the skill set required to work with emotional human beings on the emotionally charged topic of money. You'll get practical tips and insights on applying behavioral finance into your practice from conversations with fellow advisors, industry consultants, and experts in the fields of behavior, psychology, communication, and more. Each episode is designed to help you enhance client outcomes and forever change the trajectory of your advisory business. Now here's your host, Brendan Frazier.
Dennis Moseley-Williams, welcome to the show.
It's nice to be on the show, and this should surprise everybody. It's nice to meet you. Nobody can believe that I don't know you. I don't know that. I've never met him. It's the first time. It's lovely to finally get this done, man. I'm a fan.
So do I have some news for you?
All right.
I saw you speak about 9 years ago in Nashville, Tennessee. And it escaped me for a while. And then all of a sudden I was like, wait, I've heard of talk on the experience economy before and like how it pertains to financial services. And then it hit me and I was like, wait, that was Dennis Moseley-Williams. Now we didn't meet, but I got to see you in person. We've at least been in the same room for what that's worth.
What meeting was it? Do we know?
I don't remember. I just remember the hotel room that I was in. That's about the gist of it. And I remember you. So that was the most memorable part, I suppose. Everything else is just faded into the distance.
The hallmark of an experience is it's memorable. If there's no memory, there's no experience.
Bookmark that, everybody. It's going to be a theme.
It is.
A couple weeks ago, I'm on X. I get a video sent to me from you, and it says, "Oh boy, Brendan, do I have a story for you that I can't wait to tell on the podcast." So it worked out well that it was a couple weeks later, and we had this recording scheduled. You've teased it. It's been out there, been waiting a couple weeks. What's the story that we got to hear?
I just bought a new couch. I met a new advisor. He reached out. Awfully convenient story for me to get to start by telling, so thank you. Just this fellow reached out. He's interested in the private consulting work that we do. Has no idea who I am. Never seen me speak, hasn't heard about me. He actually found my little videos. He watches the videos I put out. And I don't know if you know this. I say a lot of disparaging things about marketing, okay, and pumping out content. It drives me crazy. So I always let people know all that stuff you see, I shoot 2 weeks of it in less than 25 minutes and I never think about it again. I send it to somebody else, they post it, and I spend all my time doing things that are actually important. Okay, that's why I get so much work. So I'm always happy. It's like, oh, get out of here. You like my videos. He goes, oh, I watch them all. They're fantastic. He and I live about 7 minutes apart. He has a massive pile of assets. His book of business is well over $100 million. Now, this is a gentleman who lives in Ottawa, Canada. I meet all kinds of books of businesses that are bigger than that all over the United States. This is a Canadian market. It's a little different. To qualify that, we work with two groups, and privately, the one group manages a few billion and the other group manages 9 billion. I know all about AUM. There's $100 million in Canada. That's a big deal. He has 50 clients. His entire business is built on experience and transformation. The guy was the best conversation I've had in months. Okay. He's fantastic. His entire business. He's like, oh, no. And this isn't for everybody, by the way, to all of our friends that are listening. Not everybody wants to host events with their clients. Not everybody wants to socialize with their clients, which is unfortunate because it's a real advantage if you like to. So he has built his entire business on experience and transformation as it relates to fulfillment. People leading fulfilling, fantastic lives. He partners right up with you and he helps you just figure out all the great things and wonderful things you want to do with your life, and he makes them happen. Finds you things to read, things to do, et cetera, et cetera. He was like, are you going to be in town? It's like, no, I'm going to be away. He goes, I'd invite you down to attend this event. It's a little wine tasting sort of thing, but how he does it, who he brings in, how it works. It's incredible. So he was wrestling with, he had some tragedy. One of the younger advisors in his firm died unexpectedly. And his clients that person's clients all want him to take them over. So he's, of course, torn because he said, on one hand, I certainly could. I certainly have the capacity. And for all kinds of reasons that we all understand, there'd be some advantages to doing that. But he is so unreasonable about who he works with and fit that's what he's wrestling with. That's actually what prompted him to reach out to me. So anyhow, it's just nice to meet a person who sings from the same song sheet, and they're just living proof, right? Really quiet, doesn't market, keeps a super low profile. All his business is word of mouth, never ends, constantly trickling in, huge pile of assets, small client base.
So in all of that, what about this advisor struck you as, man, this is different. Man, this is better. Man, this what was it that struck? And I guess I think I can gather some themes in there. I mean, you work with, you've talked to, you see advisors around the world.
Yeah.
What was it about that felt different? Where you're like, I got to tell about this guy on the podcast?
Yeah, it's a killer question, man. It's like, why was I excited to tell my partner Tom all about him? Like, truly, why was I like, dude, tell me when you got 15 minutes if I got a client for you, this guy? Yeah,
because let's say you meet hundreds of advisors a year, and I bet you don't call Tom after all of them and say, listen to this, Tom.
No, in fact, it's quite you're on the ball today, bro. No, it's the other way around. I protect him. That's my job.
Right.
I don't let anybody near Tom unless they're worth it. It's like, you're going to like this guy. So the short answer to your question is this. There's a couple of things. The first is,
by the way, we don't always like short answers. We like the best answers, long or short. So don't feel the need to make it short, make it good.
Everyone who's ever had any exposure to me ever is like, Brendan, don't say that. This guy never shuts up.
Same here. I've always said that a concise isn't my strength, but so I won't judge. Just all right, keep going. You're good.
My wife's joke is it's an occupational hazard. He always thinks he has an hour to make a point.
Okay. In that case, keep it short.
Okay. So a word that is overused, but underappreciated because it's misunderstood is authenticity. What authenticity means is this. You are true with who you are to yourself. You're just Brendan. You really are who you are. And you accept it and you own it. Part 2, critically important, and you are honest with how you represent yourself to others. In the experience economy, we call that real. I know who I am, warts and all, everything about myself. And I don't pretend otherwise to me or to you. Well, then I go and I pretend I'm this corporate guy. Nope, I'm always me. This person was the most authentic human being I've met ever. It was, I just thought, I totally understand. Like at one point he goes, can you just excuse me? My dog, not even my dog, my daughter's dog, he says, that I don't even want to have here, now wants to go on a walk. He knows, he had a fantastic understanding of what people needed from him.
In terms of
service and guidance. He said to me, you said this funny thing in one of your videos. You said that the most important thing of the financial plan, I'll remind you, which is what too many people think, that's what they're selling. And you said the most important thing about it is you can talk about stuff that's actually important. And he said, that's exactly how I feel. Because I get that financial plan done. It's all about who the client is and what they want to do with themselves. What I believe, what he believes, I think you believe, most of us believe is this. There's something beyond wealth.
That's right.
It's well-being. And this is what I think. Any aspect of your client's life that they feel is a part of their well-being and requires attention, that's now the responsibility of the advisor.
Okay, what's an example of something where like we wouldn't necessarily make the connection as like this is an aspect of of their life that ties to well-being, but I wouldn't necessarily see that as a tip. If I had my traditional advisor hat on, I would maybe miss that that's part of my responsibility in terms of money and well-being.
If they've got their traditional advisor hat on, they're missing everything.
Well, right. Okay. Right. Yes. But okay. So maybe give us one taste or one example.
Depression. I'm depressed. I'm bored. I'm frustrated. I'm sad. I'm wondering all the time if this is it. Those are problems that become a problem for the financial advisor to solve. That's what I'm talking about.
I am with you on this, that I think our duties, our roles, our responsibilities go far beyond just managing the money and the assets. Now, I guess let me disclaim that real quick. I think that you can, if you want to just do the financial side, you can. But I think you should be clear about it and set a line and say, this is what I do. But you at least need to be able to recognize, hey, this is an aspect of their life that needs help, and then help them find somebody that can do that. Also, by the way, if the only thing you're doing is just the financial aspect, that's a lot of job risk that you're going to have moving forward in the next 10, 20, 30 years. So another thing to think about there. But I mean, I imagine you've heard this before, but I know there's people that are sitting there thinking like, maybe not on this podcast as much, but they're out there and they're going, what do you mean that's part of my responsibility? Like, I'm here to manage the money, do the financial side. Like, how does that connect to the person feeling sad? Or, I mean, we could even go as far as saying dealing with depression. Where's the tie in there? How does that tie in? What am I missing?
It's what clients want. So, for instance, as a people change, as Americans change, North Americans change, so do their needs and wants as consumers. There was a time when you just had to have excellent products and then excellent services, and that was enough to distinguish yourself in the marketplace. It was enough to make people happy, satisfied. They paid a premium. When I started, Brendan, people were buying mutual funds with front end fees on them, and everybody was making commissions. Okay. But as we change, our needs and wants as consumers change. So we've seen people move from, industrial economy, the service economy, the experience economy, which I've talked about for a really long time. But the experience economy is waning. I know, because everybody's now talking about it. Well, must be time to go if the whole party's here. Where were you guys in 1995 when I was alone on this? So now what's coming in on the horizon is transformation. Now the question that our clients ask when they're evaluating our worth isn't how much are they earning us and how much does it cost? Pause. Obviously, they care about that. But that part, the goods and services, the investments and the advice, it's really, really important, and they know they need it. They don't care who they get it from. And as important as it is, they're willing to pay 1% for it. And as soon as they can pay 50 basis points, they will. So we've got this think about what you want from your retirement and your life compared to your grandfather. Mm-hmm. I mean, for me, it's too funny to even consider what a conversation with my grandfather would be like if I said to him, what do you think about fulfillment? What are you talking about?
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah.
I don't know if I'm happy. I'm not sure how I feel about things. You know what I mean?
Right.
If you look at all business and all industry and where it's going, there's some things that are really, really important. We don't want to be a business that just sells stuff and does things. What we want to be is something people buy into. And I'm going to say an idea. We don't even want to have an advisor. And if everybody out there listening, just think about the relationships you have with your very best clients. Do you feel like you're their advisor? Or is it like, no, actually, admittedly, with this handful of clients I have, there's something really special there. It's like, right. And the word that I like to use is advocate. An advisor is a person that knows so much about something they can tell you what to do and charge you a fee for it. And at one point, when I started, they charged commissions to tell you what to do. Now just look at what's happened. All the products are better. There's more of them. And the services are fantastic. Like every person, including me, receives robust, sophisticated financial planning for 1%. Then there's this, but what do we want? And what we want is to belong. What we want is help becoming who we believe we are. And in the enlightened self-interest of the financial advisor, what could be better for business development than that? Having all of your clients talking about you. Like I've said this a million times, so forgive me because you've probably heard me say it one place or another, or write it or whatever. Here it is. No, the second best thing a client can say to you, second best. I got a buddy I've been talking to about you for years, and he's ready. He wants to meet you. He wants me to make an intro. He has millions of dollars. Second best. Number one best thing a client can say to you, wow, I never thought about that before. And like, I'm going to pay a compliment to you. I bet people tell you really nice things about your work. I bet you've heard some things you've told your wife. Somebody said this to me today. They told me, I bet you have. I know you have.
I will raise my hand and say you are correct.
You should, and you should be proud of it. You're making a difference. There are people that say to you, look, I know you thought this and this, but man, you said that thing. I've been thinking about that. And then I started doing it, right?
Right.
That's what you want to be for your clients. You want to be an advocate. You're not rallying them around everybody needs financial planning. You're rallying them around an idea, a big idea. Living a life that's fulfilling, enriching you in all ways. Think about, and they want to buy into that, and they want to bring people to it. They want to learn from you every time they interact with you.
On one hand, with the advocate idea, it brought me back to a conversation I had with one of our advisors yesterday, who he was saying he wants more clients like this. One client that he has, one of his best clients. So you mentioned the example of thinking of your best clients, and that best client that he thought of, I was like, what is it about him? Like, what are the things that you enjoy? What are the things you would replicate? Why does he come to mind? And he said, well, because every time he talks to me, he says, you know what? You're my guy. You're my guy for this. And so that's the first thing that came to mind. And I think that sort of plays into the advocate. If you feel differently, by the way, let me know if that's not the same thing. But it's kind of like this, you don't just like provide me a service. You don't just like exist to deliver a product. Like, you're my guy for all things money, which is it doesn't get a whole lot better than that, I don't think.
You've made my life a better thing.
Yes, right. Yeah.
The nicest thing I have ever heard about myself in my career, which is 30 years long, is this. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't spend as much time with my children as I do.
That's cool. I thought you were going to say the nicest thing was when you got the notice that said you're going to be on the Human Side of Money podcast. Maybe that's a close second.
I was delighted, of course. It's right up there.
To that point, though, I joke. One of the things I joke with my wife about is that I think some of my favorite comments that I get, some of my favorite feedback that I get from advisors is not when I'm like helping them figure out, hey, here's a way to conduct your discovery meetings to like get people to open up and connect, or here's a communication skill or tactic. It's when somebody, literally somebody said, hey, Brendan, I enjoyed that training. What I went home and I got my 19-year-old son to actually open up and tell me about his day. And it's weird. It's like, that wasn't the intent at the core, right? Granted, we were talking about communication and like essential elite communication. And it hit me and I was like, wait, that feels more rewarding than anything else I've done up to this point.
Absolutely. That's where, it's interesting. So you help advisors run better businesses. I help advisors run better businesses. There's lots of advisors. There's lots of need for guys like us. Good for us. But what you and I actually do isn't very different than what our clients do. People go see our clients because they're a mess. They got a shoebox full of information. I make lots. I spend too much. I'm starting to get nervous. Put this whole thing together for me. And that's what advisors do. They solve that whole thing. They do great work. We're skipping some deets here. They do some great stuff. They hand that person a financial plan. And that person, all of a sudden, and this is the opportunity, everybody, for the first time in their life, with that solved, they can actually now say, wait a second, now that this big monster in the box, as I call it, Spalding Gray, is taken care of, for the first time ever, I can think about other things. I've got a wicked story about that, by the way. And conversely, that's what financial advisors do. What do you and I do? People come to us and we put together a business plan. Oh, I got a mess. I got a practice. It generates all kinds of revenue, but it's not a business. It's a job. And the second we do the work and get it right, and it's like handing somebody a financial plan. And all of a sudden, I'm dealing with a different animal. So now it's like, I'll just make you the advisor clients like, so now we've evaluated your strategy or what you thought was a strategy. And now we've got a plan in place that makes sense. We're got you doing smart things, not stupid things. We're saving all kinds of time and you have capacity. And for the first time, there's a true story of my client, John in San Diego. I'll tell you his last name when we're done. Huge Wells Fargo advisor back in the day. Well, still is. He's got so much energy, he makes me look like I'm on Valium. Okay. So one day, my business partner, Tom, has his call with John, who goes by Johnny. So Tom calls me and he goes, I just had the wildest call with Johnny. I go, yeah. He goes, yeah, you got a minute? I'm like, tell me about it. He says, Johnny was so laid back.
You're like, must be a different Johnny, right? Different Johnny.
I can remember sitting back and putting my feet on my desk and saying, okay, tell me the story. I got to hear this. We fixed his business. He was like the number one advisor for Wells in California. It was a big business. So I wasn't on the call. I'm hearing about secondhand. He goes, what do you want to talk about today, John? Because John's in this different mood. John goes, I have one sister. So Tom is amazing. So Tom goes, okay. And he says, there's just the two of us and she has two sons. I'm their favorite uncle. I'm Uncle Johnny. So Tom goes, okay. He says, they live 5 miles from me. I haven't seen them in 6 months. And then he says, I'm a terrible brother and a horrible uncle.
Okay.
That guy, who's a love, had been carrying that in him.
Mm-hmm.
But he could never deal with it because he was also dealing with entirely too many accounts, too much going on. Where do you find time to worry about it? So when you're an advisor and you get that financial plan in place, you have just liberated a human being and you've cleared the vista. And the opportunity now is you can now engage with them in a way they are not expecting that will benefit them. And there's a difference between commoditized service of achieving financial goals. God, I practically yawn when I say that. Okay. And then achieving your personal aspirations. There's a difference. They're not the same. So I'm always working with, and everybody listening, it's like, no, I stop being an advisor. Just subsume financial planning up into something else. And what that would be is this where you'd start. What's your secret? This is the sentence. All financial advisors believe blank. I think they're crazy. Okay. I believe blank, blank, and blank. They think I'm crazy. There you go. You noodle on that. It's if I'm going to role play it, you're my advisor and I hand you all my money. Here's $13,600 Canadian. Here's all my money, my Canadian crime bucks. And then I say, listen, buddy, I'm going to come to all my meetings and do everything you tell me to do. Okay. Just tell me what I need to do. Imagine and we're personal friends. Brent, I know you've never wanted to run my money. You don't want the business to interfere with our friendship. I'm just going to call it. That's bullshit. I'm giving you all my money. I love you. Okay. And I'm going to be a really good client. I'm going to open every email. I'm going to return every phone call. I'll come to your meetings. I'll do exactly what you tell me to do. So help me God, I promise. Now, Brendan, what's the real secret here? And you would tell me, okay, I'm going to manage your money. I'm going to do this. And then you tell me some truth. You'd say, I know from your social media posts, I like those posts you put up where you talk about how you go away with your love there and how much it costs and how much it'll be worth in 25 years. Amen. That's a post I like. I like those posts. I learned something from that post. So if you said to me, okay, Dennis, here's what you need to do. You and your wife need to go on 4 vacations a year. You got to pack a bag and go somewhere. You don't have to go to Italy, but you got to get the hell out of your town. And you need to work on your brain. I want you to stay curious, Dennis. Don't you get old. You're allowed to get old, but you're not allowed to get old in your thinking. I'm going to give you some books to read, some movies to watch. I'm going to challenge you on some things. I'm going to help you adopt a good habit here and there. I'm going to help you on a big project. That's what I'm talking about. I got your money looked after. You don't have anything left to worry about. Can I suggest you worry about how boring your life is? What's your story going to be? Do you know that guy? His name is Jesse Eisler.
He's like an insane endurance athlete guy.
He does a weird thing where he likes to run a lot, which is
which I'll never understand.
Me either, brother. But I'm going to tell you what. He changed my life, and I've never met him. He changed my life. He changed my life. He sells this thing called a Big Ass Calendar.
Is it actually called the Big Ass Calendar?
Yeah. Yeah. So this is where he changed my life. He said, you should go every 60 days. You should go on a mini adventure. And the rule is it has to be something you normally wouldn't do. So it can't be a ski trip for me. I'm going to go anyway. It has to be something like so-and-so asked you if you would like to go and do this. And it has to be when you go, well, I don't want to do that. You have to say yes. And 6 times a year, you're going to go have an experience you otherwise wouldn't have had. Over 10 years, that's 60 mini adventures. I'm saving money. I'm looking after myself. When I'm dying and I'm thinking, how the hell is this it? And I'm reflecting on my life. What do I want to have? Memories, not dreams.
Yeah.
We're going to come back around to advisors and what they should be doing. It's that old quote. I should look it up. I could open a browser and look because I don't remember who said it. And it's very famous. Most people lead lives of quiet desperation.
Yep.
Fancy way of saying most people are unhappy. Do you believe that's true? I do.
Yeah. The Mass of Men Lead Lives of Quiet Desperation by Henry Thoreau. For anybody that was wondering. And you said because they're bored.
They're bored. They're afraid. They're uninspired. They're 52 years old. They've been telling themselves stuff that's not true since they were 15. I can't do that. It's too late for that. I wish I would have done that. No, that's why they need an advocate.
Was Jesse Itzler your advocate? Is that the way we're looking at it here? It's like, hey, he's the one that opened my eyes and encouraged me to do this thing differently that led to this transformation in my life, because without him, I would have never gone on these trips that he encouraged me to, or he said I should do. And now that I've done them, I've experienced a transformation in my life that I wouldn't have otherwise if not for him.
Yes, 100%.
Because I do, again, 100% believe in that's the opportunity that we have when we work with clients to help them create transformations like that and use their money as a tool to do that. But if I look at Jesse, if I wanted to play the skeptic, I'd be like, well, yeah, that's Jesse Itzler's job, is to be an inspirational, motivational life coach type person. Right. And so I guess what I'm wondering is,
it's not his job. It's his choice.
okay.
He chooses to be. It's not a job at all. He's just choosing to share generously something he figured out. And he's one of a number of people who inspired me to make a change. The first was Seth Godin with Permission Marketing in 1990 something. Same thing. It's like, interesting. We are all walking around trying to look the same and not offend anybody, because that's safety and security. But all of us are, while we're all walking around pretending, we're looking out of the corner of our eye for anything that's different and amazing. And the second we find it, we jump all over it.
Particularly in the sea of sameness. In the sea of sameness, you have to do something that stands out. And generally speaking, most people are in the sea of sameness. They're there because they're conforming to what they think they should believe, what they're told that you do when it comes to financial advice and how a financial advisor would act, market, and believe.
Yeah. If we're speaking of financial advisors still, yeah, it's because you're getting abused by bullshit polls. This is what clients want. No, it's not. If I send you a survey and I say, here's the question, which of these four things, would you be most interested in? If the question is, okay, and then they say, I'm going to pick this one. Okay. You didn't ask them what they want or what they think. You gave them a choice. That's not the same thing. If I say, look, I'm working for the city of Ottawa where I live for tourism. Hey, if you come to Ottawa for a vacation, would you like to go on the Ottawa River, visit the experimental farm, tour the Parliament buildings, or eat a beaver tail downtown? And everybody goes, I guess I'd like to see the Parliament buildings. And then I sell that list saying 72% of people that come to Ottawa want to see the Parliament buildings. That's a lie. No, I should have just said, what do you want to do when you get here? Oh, I want to buy some weed and hang out on a terrace. Then that's the honest answer, isn't it? And that's what you want.
Yeah.
It's not the one I fed you. So what advisors need to do is this. Stop caring about what everybody else is telling you to do. Dennis, you're here telling us what to do. Yeah, I know, but I'm telling you not to listen to me. I'm saying you got a secret inside of you that you would tell your children to do. You tell this how you live a life that's worth living. And that is what you need to share with your clients. Like, we all have these books we've read that we love. And I asked every audience, what's the best book you read last year? Yeah. You share it with your clients? Why not? What did you learn from that book? I'm not a big fan of Zoom, but here's a place I like to use Zoom. I'd use Zoom for a book club. Really? Yeah, for sure. That's the only, it works great. Hey, everybody, that cool book that I read that's amazing. Let's all read it together and discuss it. Go Google the name of the book and questions for a book club. There you go. And host everybody in and share that knowledge. The question that should guide everything we do is, who are we helping the client become?
So in that light, how do I think through, if I've been told kind of how to think, act, and believe, and ingrained, it's been ingrained in me. Well, how do I go about figuring out, how do I break out of the mold? If I'm listening, I'm like, yeah, I hear you and I feel that, and I get what you're saying and it resonates, but I need to break out. Is it just a matter of being authentic? Like we said from the beginning, like what's the recipe there?
Okay. I gave you that one sentence. All financial advisors believe blank. I think they're crazy. I believe blank, blank, and blank. They all think I'm crazy. I'd start there. And then I would move in to really thinking deep about, like, if I gave you 100 clients that all had $1 million, here you go. You don't have to think about going and finding any of your clients. You got lots of revenue. It's all good. Yeah. What do you believe a person has to do to live a life less ordinary? So obviously one of them is you're going to need some funds. I agree with that. Okay. So what else do I need? You need your health. You need hobbies. Mm-hmm. You need friends. You need intellectual curiosity. You need to contribute to something that's bigger than you. You trust me, I've been there, and you've been there, I bet. And if not, you're going to be. I have had the moment, and I'm going to tell everybody this because I don't even care. We're all just being honest. I've had the moment where I was leaving my house. I'd said goodbye to my children. I'd said goodbye to my wife, and I couldn't turn around to say goodbye to my kids again because I had tears in my eyes. And my wife knew, and she went, "We love you, honey, and you'll be home really soon." And at that time in my life, and tell me you can't relate with this, I went from, I got the best idea nobody's ever heard. Okay, like, you idiots don't know what you're talking about. This is it. But nobody cared or knew my name. To, at the moment I was walking out that driveway, I was in tears. It's like, I don't know, I'd made like $100,000 talking in 9 days or a week or some friggin' crazy thing. Like, I had achieved my goal. What do you call that? I had actualized my fantasy, for God's sakes. It wasn't even a goal. It was a fantasy. Can you imagine making X just flying around telling people what you think about? Fantasy. Who am I to think about these things? So I'm telling you, we've all had it. In my own experience, it's like I've achieved financial success. I've had things happen that I never ever believed would have happened. This job has been amazing. This calling has been incredible. But that's not what makes me happy. What makes me, that just makes me satisfied. And you know this, and everybody listening knows this. After a while, it's just your life. It's just normal. What's precious? I think Brian Portnoy said this. Whenever I say his name, I feel like I should genuflect. I love that guy. Brian Portnoy, I believe, said that wealth is to be free from worry or want. That's a big word. Want. I don't want anything. I just, I don't want. So your question was, how would they figure that out? It's like, okay, quit looking for an easy answer. You might have to do some thinking. It might be really hard. Maybe start by having a couple of glasses of wine, get yourself in the right frame of mind, go for a walk, get real honest. What's the truth? What's the organizing principle behind all this work I'm going to do? Think service, experience, consequence. Service. Financial planning is soon going to be free. Okay? These big companies are just going to get into it. And they're going to take your clients away. So you don't want to be in the service thing, but I can't save them all and I don't care. Service is what you do. It competes on price. Experience is how you do it. And we know this. If the experience is there, the client will pay a little bit more. Okay, great. The word I want to drive home here is consequence. That's your value, everybody. What happens to people because they meet you?
Earlier, you said service, experience, transformation.
Same idea.
This is service, experience, consequence. Same idea, same concept.
Yeah, but let's qualify transformation because it's a word that makes people uncomfortable. It doesn't mean the guy's going to cry in your office, although it happens. It's this. You create the possibility within the client to reconsider what they believe and how they behave. You're right. I need to go on more vacations. You're right. I'm chasing false gods here. Why am I walking down my driveway to go to another speaking engagement? I've got tears in my eyes. Why am I doing this? Do I need the money? No, you're afraid. You're afraid if you don't go, you won't get the next one. So you're living your fantasy. Was fear a part of your fantasy?
Right.
You know where it started? On the ski hill. My buddy and I were trying to get better at skiing in trees. I put this in my book. It's like written right in there. We're trying to get better skiing in the trees. So we do like a little glade run. We ski in Quebec. In French, a glade run is called Les Sous-Bois, underwood. It's prettier. Anyhow, if you're an aesthetic kind of guy, and we do this short little ripper through the trees, get on the chairlift and, debrief, do the run again, debrief. And my buddy said something really powerful. He said, it's really hard not to see the trees. And I said, yeah, I know. And he said, You take all those trees off the hill, we could do all those tight turns, but man, you put the possibility of having your skull smashed in, and all of a sudden your attention is on the trees, not the spaces between them. And we started talking about how you had to unthink yourself. We used a slightly different word. You can probably all imagine what it was. How you have to unthink that stuff. And then we started talking about old code. So it's just your lizard brain screaming at you, don't hit the tree, don't hit the tree. And then we got into all these other things that we believe without questioning them. So the chairlift rides up were all like very philosophical discussions, and then back onto the ski run. And we talked about everything, man. It was huge. One of the things I started revisiting, this was early in my career. This is like, not early, but this is like 10 years in, 20 years ago, let's say. So there was, bigger's not better. And all this constant drum beating, look at me, look at me, look at me, is annoying and bullshit. No, you know what? And I think you mentioned to me in an email, you said, I listened to you on Michael Kitz's. If you listen in that, I tell him, I think everybody should try to be a secret. I think you should be that person people think they've heard about. The person people whisper about. You hear about that guy? Do you know that guy? I think I know that guy. Is that the guy that does this? That's the guy. Don't pay any attention to anybody that isn't your client. Just matter more to your existing clients. Stop marketing. Stop telling your marketing assistant, which is the worst title in the world. Do any of your clients want to hear from your marketing assistant? Nope. Do they want to hear from your sales assistant? No. And they don't want to jam a needle in their eye either. Nobody wants any of that. I call that the hatchback effect. Do you know what a hatchback is?
Like the car?
Yeah. The car they named after its ugliest feature? Yeah, that one. Instead, everybody listening, for 30 days, do this. All the staff that you have working for you is on social media all day anyway for themselves. You may as well be paying them to do it for you, okay? All your assistant should do for the next 30 days is study your existing clients every day and meet with you and the rest of the team once a week and update everybody on everything going on. Recognize it. You want your clients to feel like they belong? Show them, demonstrate that you pay attention. You know stuff you shouldn't know. What are they doing? They must be looking at our social media stuff. Yep. That's exactly what I'm doing. You know everything you're doing. And, earlier we were going to go to the other side of the desk. You're an advisor. What do you want? If there's advisors listening, like, I just want to matter more to my clients, then do what I'm saying. I just want to increase my retention, then do what I'm saying. Well, I want organic growth, then do what I'm saying. Just matter more to your existing clients. What best brands have in common? Everybody talks about them. Give your clients something to talk about. Be a hero. Be cool. Be interesting.
Okay, let's come back to this don't stop marketing idea and concept in just a second. But first, the idea of having somebody on your team, having your assistant for 30 days go and study your existing clients, your current clients. I'm guessing that the idea there is have them go out where maybe it is on social media. You're following them. You're seeing what's going on. You're tracking them. You're following their lives. You're checking in with them. You come, you meet once a week. And then I guess the thought is in that meeting, when you get together once a week, you sit down and this person says, okay, so Dennis and his wife just got back from this vacation where they went skiing last week, and their anniversary was a few days ago. And then it's like, okay, and then John and Deborah, they just had their baby, or they just moved into this house. They just and so you're getting updated on their lives, I get all that, and then my thought goes, what do we break the meeting? I'm updated. What do we do next? Demonstrate to your client that you're aware. Hey, we saw that you're doing this. Good for you. We saw that. Hey, if you're really thinking, they'd also know this. Hey, Dennis's eldest daughter is probably going to be a college or university student next year. I wonder if she was affected by that news 2 weeks ago where all of these colleges canceled programs.
And in fact, my daughter Ella was. She's all lined up to go to, my daughter wants to be a commercial pilot. Well, they canceled her program 2 weeks ago. Existential crisis. Now we got to figure that all out. Hey, Dennis and Sherry are going on this thing. Hey, Dennis and Sherry have been married for a long time. Hey, Dennis and Sherry's dog died. Hey, this happened. Hey, that happened. Just be a presence in your client's life. People, that's the experience. They love to feel like they're not a client. They want to feel like you know them. Demonstrate that you do. It's not complicated. It doesn't have to be big. It just has to be, hey, I'm aware and we care. Like everybody listening, do your clients have children? Of course they do. What's going on with their kids? How many of them have kids my age and their kids are just starting their first ever job? Now imagine if you were aware of that because you do a regular call check-in with your client and you find, and you always ask the right questions and you find that, oh yeah, Ella's got a little job working at a coffee shop. It's cool. It's her first one. It's good though. It's great. She's learning to listen to somebody that isn't me or my wife. And that's good, growing up and all that stuff. Yeah. Okay. Take care. Hang up the phone. Now, if you're thinking, you'd buy the book, The Richest Man in Babylon, or Rich Dad, Poor Dad, or one of those books. In Canada, you'd buy The Wealthy Barber. That's our book like that. Dave Chilton. Okay. And you'd send that book to the kid. And you'd call the parent and you'd say, I'm sending something to your house. It's a book for your daughter. Don't open it. And that book arrives, and on your fancy pants desk card, nice and thick and hard and goodness, you'd write this: Dear Brendan, I understand you've joined the workforce. Congratulations. Your father is understandably proud. Please read this book before you get too many paychecks. Okay? And then I'd say to the dad, your next appointment with me is on this date. Why don't you bring your kid in? Why don't we let Ella see a side of Dennis she's never seen before? She's growing up. And in the last 15 minutes of that meeting, I'm going to turn my attention on Ella, and I'm just going to teach her about compound interest and the future. The dad is going to tell that story. You are always being contrasted. And everyone who hears that story is going to think, my guy doesn't even call me. You posted something on this the other day about sucking at communication. It's still like, oh my God, the number one thing. And everybody listening that's like, I don't know if I like Dennis. Why? You want to default to not communicating enough because you like it that way? Of course you do. If you could do less, you would. Yeah. I'm the other way. I like to lead with love, man. Big. I like people to know. No, I care. So in your enlightened self-interest, marketing's a pointless waste of your time. Your best marketing is to get your existing clients to tell a story about you. And when people hear a story and they instinctively they do this, okay, tell me that again. Have you ever had that? You tell somebody, you tell them a story and they go, okay, wait, tell me that again. If you said to them right then, no, I'm not telling you, but I'll give you $50 if you can tell me what I just told you, they can tell you. The reason they say, tell me that again, it's because they want to be part of it. What's the biggest challenge financial advisors have to growing their business? They're boring. They're bored.
Or they're swimming in a sea of sameness and they all look the exact same.
I'm convinced that I could have copyrighted that. They are, yes, whatever. Call it whatever the hell you want. I've met a lot of them and so have you. They're boring. Even their offices are boring. Hey, is that a print of an oil painting of bulls running on Wall Street? I've never seen that. I want to go into your office. This is your big secret. I want to go into your office, and while I'm sitting there, if you said, I'll be back in 5 minutes, just sit here and be comfortable. I want to look around your office like my own version of Kaiser Sose from The Usual Suspects. I want to look around your office and figure out what you're all about. That's what I want.
I don't want pictures of bulls on Wall Street. Like, give me something that tells me who you are, that personalizes you, that gives me a little insight into you, that makes you more human.
And where I want to take you. If you came to my office, it would be full of clocks and quotes on time, because that's all you got. I'd want you thinking about it all the time. Got your financial plan done, and then I'd want to find the nicest possible way to say this. Okay, great. I'm glad that's done. Question for you: aren't you tired of wasting your time? And that, like, I want literally this idea that someone would say, "Could we just do this meeting by Zoom? I'd allow you to have one Zoom meeting with me a year. Yeah, I'm not going to make you leave your cottage. We can do it in the summer like this, real quick. But I want to stage such an experience. There's no way you'd want to miss my meeting. You look forward to it, man. When you go, it's amazing. You and your wife leave when you're done, and you can't figure out what to do with yourself."
Is it possible to do that with Zoom?
No. I have effective Zoom meetings. Here's a couple of things I do. I always show up before you. I immediately share a screen. I immediately put something on the screen you've never seen before. It's a song. It's a TED Talk. It's something cool. It's usually related to what I want to talk to you about. Now, today I'm having this chat with you, and I'm delighted to be having this chat with you. I'm in my hotel room in Toronto. I just came off stage. But if I was in my Zoom meeting like you, well, I have a proper zone area, and it's lit up right. And, you know, I'm comfortable, and I have access to all my stuff instead of staring at you on my little computer here. But yeah, you can do things, but
the effect's not the same.
Get them in front of you. And what about people listening going, well, what is it weird if I go to their house? No, that's totally cool. You can stage an experience somewhere else. If I went to visit you and your wife and have a meeting, I would teach you something about your neighborhood you don't know. I would show you something that you hadn't discovered yet that becomes your thing. A hole in the wall place, or this or that or whatever. You can stage an experience anywhere. There's a little rule of thumb in experience design. Efficiency is the executioner of experience. Don't default to efficiency. It's bad. Hey, I just saved you some time, Dennis. You know what saved me even more time? Just email me all this stuff the next time. We don't have to talk. No, I have a guy I worked with in New York for a long time. I loved him. And I still hear from him, but I don't work with him anymore, but I love him. Now he's at Westchester, as he says. He worked on Park Avenue. So you want to know something? Everybody down here, they'll tell you, nobody's going to come down to Park Avenue. My clients do. I said, I bet they do. He goes, they come in the night before, get a hotel room, have dinner, and I just become part of their date. It was like seeing me is such a highlight. They wouldn't miss it. They come in and get a hotel. I've never forgot it. And that's how it should be. A trip to your office should be a trip at your office.
You mentioned staging, and again, an amazing experience when somebody comes in for a meeting.
Yeah.
For anybody that's listening thinking, now that sounds cool. I like that idea. I mean, I'm sure you could probably write a book on how to do that. What are some of the things you think you've heard advisors do to create a better meeting experience?
Okay, two things. I did write a book on it, and here's one thing everybody could do. What does it feel like to show up at your office? I'm presently in a Marriott hotel here in Toronto because I'm a player, and I got an email the day before I came here that said, do you want to turn your telephone into a room key? So, sure. And then it said, do you want to spend an extra $78 to sleep in an extra 126 square feet? They're just reminding me I'm a transaction. Okay. So I said, nope. But now my little iPhone is my room key. What does that allow me to do? I show up, I breeze through the lobby, I don't talk to anybody. I get in the elevator and I came up here to room 709. Does the Ritz-Carlton do that? How come? Because the Ritz-Carlton, this is the next thing I'm going to say, has a barb on it on purpose. I'm letting everybody know it's coming. The Ritz-Carlton meets you outside the door. They meet you out on the street. Where do you meet your client? Meet them outside. and bring them in, walk them in. The Ritz-Carlton walks you in. They do all kinds of great things. I won't bore you all with it. And when the person then, they don't deny themselves a moment with you to make a statement, to make something happen, to make you have a feeling, an experience. And when they check you in, it's not fast. Then they come out from behind the counter and they walk you to the elevator and show you how it works. How many hours have I spent in this hotel? 24 hours. I got here yesterday at this time. How much did it cost me to stay here last night? Who knows? Probably, I don't know, hundreds. Okay. How many hours does the average advisor spend with their client in a year? It's definitely not 24. How much do they charge a night? Financial advisors get paid a lot of money. You really think you'd make every minute with the client count? Hey, do you want to do it by Zoom? I bet you'd like to do it by Zoom, wouldn't you? You could do even less. Of course you like that idea. That's why Apple and Google and Amazon are going to eat you alive.
What do you mean when you say that? How are they going to? They do because they do it differently?
They definitely want to get in on managing people's money, and they'll offer to do it for free.
Sure.
They take Google. They know every fantasy you've got. They know everything you've ever typed into a Google search bar. Well, people don't trust technology. Bullshit. Everyone listening has typed something into a Google search bar they wouldn't want their best friend to know about. You trust technology. You trust it. As everybody cleaning their cash and closing things. So if you're Google, I know everything you're looking at. I know every dream you have. Hey, you want to go to Italy? You want to do a renovation? You're also looking at real estate. Maybe you change your house. We'll manage all of your money. We'll do it for nothing, or for so little, it may as well be nothing. It's already so little, it's practically nothing. And we'll take a cut on every single thing you buy. You want a deck for your house? No sweat. You're going to plan it and you're going to order all that stuff and we're going to help you figure it all out and we'll sell that stuff. We'll take a cut on the lumber. It's the future. There'll be financial advisors that are no longer financial advisors. There'll be financial advisors that have salaried positions with 1,200 accounts and a bonus somehow. And then there will be people, independents, that run a totally different business that people buy into. And what they're paying for, the value, is all the stuff we've been talking about, and the financial planning is just thrown in on top, basically. That's the future.
So if I'm understanding correctly at this point, or at least in some way, if we use your example of staying at the Marriott, how they sent you the key, so you breeze past the desk, go to your room, come in, you're there. You could basically, you go through that whole process, the whole experience, and don't talk to anybody. You might as well be in a Motel 6 on the side rather than a Marriott, aside from like a few amenities here and there, right? So if I'm connecting these dots, it's like,
yeah, you certainly don't feel like you belong.
Well, you want to be able to tell a story that other people want to be a part of. So in that example, you don't have anything to tell that me, where I go, I want to stay at the Marriott in Toronto, right? Like nothing that compels me to do that. So my question is, though, I imagine there is a large group of people, or at least a segment of people out there, who hear you say, I get to walk from the door all the way to my room and not talk to a person, and they go, that's amazing. Like, I thank you so much. I don't have to I'm not interrupted by anybody. I don't want to talk to anybody. So is the idea or the thought there, like, we actually do want that more than we think that we do, so we kind of have to like force it on people because that's how we differentiate the experience? How do we think through that?
We shun those people.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
It's like this. Okay. So back in the day, we used to believe this: the customer is always right. No, they're not. If a person is standing in a Starbucks and they say to you, look, Brandon, if I can be honest with you, I hate this. I hate everything about it, including the people in it. This is not me. I'm definitely role-playing right now. I love Starbucks. I love it. I hate it. I hate the stupid venti grande thing. It's dumb, and I don't like anything about this, and I don't want that. Is the owner of the owner of the Starbucks has taken that information in. Is the customer right, or is the customer in the wrong place? They're in the wrong place.
Yeah.
Now be the owner. Be the owner of the business. Do you want to have people that want to walk through the lobby and not talk to anybody? Or do you want to have people that can't wait to engage with all your staff and enjoy all of the features and aspects of this experience? Because we've hit an important thing here. The difference between service and experience, one of them, is once you shift seriously to experiences.
Well done. I see what you did there.
Yeah, pretty good. You are ruling out all kinds of people who don't want that experience. Everybody wants a cup of coffee. Not everybody wants Starbucks. But I'm telling you, I know. And I'd go Starbucks plus. I want as many people as I possibly can to turn off. Good. I don't want you paying any attention to me. Good. Go find somebody else. I'm not your guy. This is what I'm about. And the people that want it are passionate about it, and they tell everybody else.
So it goes back to the whole the overarching marketing principle around like you be your authentic self, design the experience you think it should be. You'll attract the right people and you'll repel the ones that you don't want. Like you'll get to work with the people that experience it, that fit into it the best, and people that are probably more like you, and you'll enjoy working with them. And the people that don't want it, that's okay. They're going to opt out. They're going to go elsewhere, but they're probably not the ones that you want to work with anyways. Correct.
And quit watering down the offering to make everybody happy. That's why the whole idea of fit and a really good meeting, the whole onboarding thing, it has to be right. Because otherwise you'll just end up with a client. Who wants that?
You'll end up with that client that you're thinking of right now that you wish that you would have never onboarded, but you did.
Yep. My dad said this to me one time. He was a really sharp guy. My dad's been checked out now for 12 years. Unbelievable. He said to me one time, never sell a client. If you sell a guy once, you got to sell him 1,000 times. Why don't you convince me why you should be my client rather than me convince you why I should be your advisor? Okay? Because if I got to arm twist you to make you be my client, you're just going to fire me down the road. I'll have to arm twist you to get you to come to your meetings. I'm just not interested in fighting. No, this is exactly what I do and how I do it. And this is how I see life. And everybody who sees it my way, they're happy as hell here. People that don't aren't, but I wouldn't know because I never meet them.
Yeah, I think what you just said, I think is really powerful. And it seems kind of small, maybe for some people it didn't resonate. Maybe for some people it really resonated. But I still remember where I was in 2019, driving down the interstate on the way to a conference, listening to a podcast, and I heard this advisor who framed it as, we're not trying to get them to hire us. We're trying to decide, are we going to hire them? And I remember being like, if you can't watch, you're listening, I'm doing the mind blown thing with my hands near my head. I remember being like, wait, that's because you only have so much capacity. Every time you decide to work with somebody, you're saying no to somebody else that could be a better fit, that could appreciate what you do, that could be a better option that could treat your staff better, whatever it might be, right? It's like, and I remember being like, man, that is so subtle.
Yeah.
But it's such a powerful shift. It's such a serious shift.
Yeah.
It can change things. It changes the game.
Marketing is all push. Everything that's pushed competes on price. Experience is all pull, and it charges premium. People want it. They seek it out, and they earn it. They do all, and they go, oh, people don't do that. What are you telling me? Are you kidding me? People book hotels a year or more out to have a vacation there. When the promise is clear, the price is easy. People do it all the time. I go to the Formula One race in Montreal every year. It's a blast. And every year I buy my tickets for next year when I'm still at the race. Because that's how they do it. You're in, and then they offer you the tickets first, and they say, do you want to upgrade to those ridiculous, to that freak show over there? Yes. 2 tickets, please. All 3 days.
Do they offer it at the end of the race, after the race?
In the race, man. Mm-hmm.
Is that intentional?
Oh, God, yeah. It's awesome. I love everything about it. It's an experience. You should be choosy about who you bring on. It's a membership. They're buying into you and this big idea. Not everybody's going to like that idea. Most people will think it's crazy. Perfect. Good, get the hell away from me. This is what I'm looking for. But people who think it's the idea, they're all over it. Okay, my website until recently blows. Until recently. Okay, it was just like a website just didn't even make any sense. Literally, if you went and visited it, you couldn't even tell what I did for a living. You couldn't even figure it was terrible. I never market. I put those videos out. I've seen you in those videos. I shoot those videos 2 weeks worth in 25 minutes or less. I never think about them again. All that stuff is meaningless. Unless you're trying to pump crap out. But I got 25,000 followers. So I got this program I sell for $189. I got 20,000. You're lying to yourself. I don't do that.
Wait, hang on. I gotta challenge you a little bit there.
Sure.
We started this whole conversation with the story of the guy who saw your video and then contacted you because he saw the video.
Yeah.
Doesn't that so the video wasn't meaningless, was it? Or like, so what is that? How does that connect?
Yeah, he's 1 in a million. I just worked for the third time for a meeting planner for a company here in Toronto because I give her the attention she requires and I do a great job every time I work for her. He's one guy. That's why it's a cool story. All my other clients come from referrals. All the other gigs I get, it's all referrals. I get a gig before I leave the room. It's got nothing to do with those videos. Why are you doing the videos then? Because they take me 25 minutes and I get 2 weeks of stuff out of it. And I use them for different things.
Here's something else I'm thinking about. It goes back to this idea you mentioned earlier about not marketing. You said stage a good experience, have them tell a story. It's something they're going to want to be a part of. And so you do these things like sending the daughter the book and bringing them to the next conversation. You go and meet them outside to bring them into the office. You do these things to create a better experience. This is what I kind of think of as like the hope and pray strategy, right? It's hard to, I believe that it works. Right? Like if I treat people well, serve them well, take care of them, do these things, like, yeah, that should get them to talk about me and tell their friends about me, but it still feels like a hope and prayer strategy. Whereas if I'm doing something with like digital marketing, I can track. By the way, I'm not arguing.
Yeah,
I'm trying to paint this for the other side of it going, I can track the metrics of how often I do this, how much I spend on this, and it leads to this. And I can see this direct connection, and it feels a lot more approachable to see that than it is to do the hope and pray. Like if I create this experience and have these meetings where we talk about my clients and I send them an email and I say, hey, how was your vacation? Saw you just got back from that ski trip. It feels like that's the hope and prayer strategy of, if I do that, surely they're going to tell people about me. Yeah.
Well, they will, but I think the other is the hope and pray. So you're prospecting, that's hope and pray. You're playing numbers. Where candidly, my little firm and the clients I work with, I got a long track record. My little firm might generate a lot of revenue. If you came and sat in my office and watched what I do, you would go home and say to your wife, okay, this guy gets so many opportunities, it's outrageous. And all he does is these three things all the time. And I swear to God, he just talks to his existing clients constantly. Okay, so there's a lot we've touched here. First of all, you need a very specific market who has a very specific problem. Okay, and that problem is not financial planning. That's not a specific problem. We've all got that problem. It's what does a niche weird? Who's your niche? Oh, small business owners. That's the whole world. Go nichier than that. Oh, who own practices and do this. Okay, cool. Now we're getting somewhere. That's better. We left the hardware store owners off this list. Okay, good. And what makes them weird? What's that weird little thing that they care about? And it better be something you care about. Yeah, I feel that way too. I'm like you. I also make a lot of money. It's not a big deal to me. But I'm getting old and I don't mind dying, but I'm getting worried about getting older. And it's aging and death doesn't freak me out. It's no longer being myself freaks me out. Becoming an old thinking person freaks me out. Lack of adventure, purpose. I want to pack a lot of life in. That is my business. And all I do is spend my time generously serving my clients. Smallest, this is very Seth Godin, very small. As I say, I try to stay really small. For everybody listening, I listen to Brendan's podcast. I just love it. I only have one client. Well, you're laughing. You only need one. You don't need 100. You need one. Just need one. Once you got one, you're on your way. Now solve that problem. This is my friend Don Huzero, beautiful guy. He says he's a healthcare economist. Okay, he's a super nerd. Okay, super nerd. He's got a wild hobby, which is magic. This is a friend of mine. He can do stuff while you're sitting in front of him that you've only ever seen on television. It's amazing. He's that good. He said to me one time, sometimes magic is just one person spending more time on something than anyone else would think is reasonable. If you want a referral and organic growth, the easiest way to get them is make your clients say, I can't believe it. I did this meeting for Merrill Lynch office a couple of weeks ago. During the little lunch break, I was having a chat. And I'm going to be honest, but I gotta tiptoe how I say this. He who organized the meeting was a little bit of a hard ass, okay? Okay? Likes me, but he made this workshop mandatory. So they come in. So now we've got to the point where we got to lunch and he's really happy. Everything's going great. So we're just having this kind of get to know you over a sandwich chat. And I let him know that I have this peculiar little hobby. He goes, really? I said, he goes, this is also fascinating. I said, well, I'm a super nerd, man. I'm a total nerd. He goes, no, you're not a nerd. And I'm like, yeah, I'm a total nerd. I just don't look like one, but I am a nerd. Even the nerds say, shh, don't tell Dennis. I'm a nerd. And he goes, oh yeah? Like, what do you got that's nerdy? So I told him about my comic books that I like. And I had this interest. I just thought it's an art form I appreciate. He goes, oh, what's that about? I said, well, I want you to imagine the films, The Godfather Part 1 and 2. Yeah, okay. Well, how comic books work is there's an artist and there's a writer. So the writer, in this case, is Mario Puzo. And he sits down with Francis Ford Coppola and he tells him the whole story. And Francis Ford Coppola goes and makes 6 hours of film on it. I'm not counting Godfather Part 3. It's a disaster. In a comic book scenario, the writer would tell the artist the whole story, and the artist doesn't give him 6 hours of film. It's like it becomes a haiku from a novel. He gives him 20 pages with little panels and little word bubbles, like that whole big, beautiful, glorious story. It starts and there's a wedding and one of the sons has come home from the war and he's got a girlfriend that's kind of the odd lady out. And his father's this powerful guy, the wedding, the band, the singing, the solemn procession up to see the Godfather. And, you know, in the movie, it's like 20 minutes. In a comic book, it'd be 1 page. So I was just explaining that I like this. And at the time, Brendan, I said, it's an art form that's very subtle. And I took my glasses off and I said, it becomes the eyes. And I just looked aside. 2 days later, I'm at the National Art Gallery in Canada, in Ottawa, where I live with my daughter. And I see this painting. I'm drawn to it. I have a photo out on my phone. I'm willing to show you on my camera. Like, this is the picture. It's of John the Baptist and Jesus, painted in 1490. And they're holding each other. And there's something about the eyes. And in the write-up of the painting, it says, only the eyes, Jesus is kind of looking off, suggest his fate. Well, 2 days earlier in a meeting in Washington, D.C., I told this guy about the eyeballs in a comic book thing. So I take a picture of it and I send him an email. Subject line was, the eyes have it. I said, when I was in the other day, I told you that. And I felt a little weird sharing that with you, but today I went to the National Art Gallery and this is what I saw. Okay. And here's this picture. Look at that. Like, here it is from 400 years ago, 600 years ago. Hey, I kid you not. He sends me back this email. He goes, you are the best. Okay. And 3 days later, he sent another email. And he said, so-and-so, We just had Dennis in. We had him do a keynote last fall. We just brought him back for a half-day workshop. It was incredible. You got to do it too. And he sent me this fantastic email when he was at the art gallery of blah, 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 blah. It's like, don't worry about finding another client. Worry about mattering more to the clients that you have.
Well, let's use this Merrill Lynch thing as an example. With the guy, you send the email for the picture of the art gallery, and then next thing you know, he loves it, and he's recommending that somebody else like bring you in to speak.
Yep.
The quality of the work that you did, of the presentation that you gave, of the workshop, and the way and even I guess I would say like the help that you gave the advisors didn't change. It was the same whether you went to the art gallery and sent him an email or not. But you did go to the art gallery. You did send him an email, personal email, connecting back to something that you said. And then the recommendation, the referral comes to go speak somewhere else. Why do you think that happened? I mean, like, actually, why? Like, why is it that an email that had nothing to do with it generated the next thing?
He might have eventually thought to send the email and make an intro, but I tend to agree with you. No, all I really did was host a wicked workshop.
Right.
That's all I really did. So maybe had somebody said, I want to do something for my people. You done anything recently? Like if it was right hot off the press, he might have went, yeah, yesterday we had Dennis and he was great. What makes it special is I connect with him as a person. By the way, that's the painting.
There it is.
So what I did was I made it personal. I made a connection. I picked up something we had done before. And this, I never asked him, hey, do you know any other people like you that could book me? I don't do that. Ever. Ever. Never bring your needs to the client.
I mean, as I'm sitting here thinking about it, and if we try to just boil it down, because that's what my mind always tries to do, is say, all right, what can we just extract or distill from this? It's like ultimately what I keep coming back to is you sent that email, you connected with them. So on one hand, you were top of mind, and then on the other hand, he likes you. So it's like he likes you and you were top of mind, and therefore that's what it did.
And I surprised him. An element of experience is surprise. So this guy he just did this. He's out with his kid and he saw this and he's interesting and nerdy, and he took a picture and sent it to me to show me exactly what he described 2 days ago.
What are some surprises you've had in your life where you go, oh, they did a good job of surprising me?
Well, here's why they work. See, this is real. This right here is it's like sometimes I say in workshops, I'll say, tell me about the most amazing experience you ever had. And I ask the question on purpose because then I go, hard to answer, isn't it? Because they're few and far between.
Yeah, but I wanted to ask you the question of, I'm sure you look at the world through the lens of experiences and transformations. And so now that as you're talking about creating members and belonging, right? What I've been wanting to ask you is what's a person or a company or an organization or a cause where you look at it and you go, that they've got me feeling like a member and I belong.
I'm bought in. Okay, so I just got into this new brand called Man Made. Okay? Yesterday in the elevator, I don't ever like to mingle with anybody before the conference. So I try to stay really low profile and just show up. I'm not like an in and out guy, but it breaks the spell if they talk to me before I speak.
I'm glad to hear somebody else say that, because I think this every time I go speaking. Sometimes you'll see other speakers that are at the events beforehand, going to the dinners beforehand. And I'm always like, I feel like I'll do it afterwards.
Me too.
All day, right? But it feels like there's something about doing it before that I don't want to. So I usually like say no, but I always feel rude. Anyways, that's off topic. I think it was just good to hear somebody else say that.
Last night, the guy said to me, I'm in the elevator. He has no idea that I'm going to speak at his conference, but I see his name tag thing. So it comes down and he goes, is that Man Made on my hat? And I said, yes, it is. And today I gave him a little shout out from stage. I said, hey, is the gentleman that was in the elevator yesterday with me here. You point out my man-made hat. I'm here. Later, he told me, he goes, I didn't even realize that was you on stage until you brought that up. He goes, it's amazing. Your appearance was totally different. Man-made, I ordered 2 things from them. On my second order, they put a handwritten note in there from all of the owners. Okay? Which I just completely love. I have hero stories about Air Canada that I could tell you all day long and the things that they do. Like a moment ago, I just sent them a little text because I've missed my plane. I said, find me a seat home. They will. I'm not even going to look again. They just will. So, but you know what we were on about a moment ago is big when I said, they're hard to come up with. And you said, but you would have a bunch. It's like, you'd be surprised. That's why when you do it, you'll get those results. Because you're right. I tour the world through the experience economy lens. My wife says, don't ever do anything with Dennis. He'll ruin it for you. Okay. It's a joke. I'm pretty sure. If something is amazing, I sit right down and figure out how they're doing it. Oh, this is good. What are they doing here? I just look at it through frameworks, right? No, I'm remarkably underwhelmed. Yesterday, I had the most amazing Uber driver ever. He's from Ghana here in Canada. Guy's amazing. Wicked conversation. He's one of the only Uber guys I've ever tipped. He was incredible. And what we talked about, my daughter and her college program, he and I talked about how he's never really sure who he should talk to. Some people like to be quiet. So I told him, these are the questions I would ask. This is what I would say. And then you're off the hook and you've made it perfect. You won't get it. So he was incredible. I actually spoke about him at dinner. Well, this guy was amazing. And conversely, he's going to send his daughter to the same program my daughter's going to end up going to, which, as I told you earlier before we went on about that pilot thing, my daughter will end up now going to the University of Waterloo for aviation, where all the research and motion boys come from, people come from.
Okay. Now, okay. I'm glad you brought up this Uber example because I was actually going to ask you, in the world of, if we're thinking about how to create a memorable experience, how to get somebody excited to tell about it, can conversation create the memorable experience? Or does it have to be something,
Yes.
the word that comes up is gimmicky. I don't know if gimmicky is the right word, but can the conversation be the difference maker, or the experience?
100%. And should be. This is the best conversation I ever had. Wow.
Yeah. Okay. Right.
Nobody's ever asked me that before. Wow.
Yeah.
One of the first things that I get my clients do with their clients once they're is help your client write a personal manifesto, and then posterize that manifesto, frame it, and give it to them. A personal manifesto is amazing. Everybody needs one. It's your declaration of what your life is about. In fact, I would argue, how can you even do a financial plan properly without a personal manifesto?
Sure. Right.
Like, it's everything. So imagine doing that. You'd be the story they'd be telling. People come to visit. What is that? This is beautiful. What is this? And they tell you it's hanging in their home, and their friends are thinking, think about those things that you post about how lousy communication is. You're just being contrasted. Okay, wait, let me get this straight. Your advisor does this? Yeah, but he's not really an advisor. He's not even, what a great way to be described. She's not what you'd think. That's a statement. You mean boring and dull? Is that what you think? Well, presumably. She's not what you think. It's not like that. They're very good with money. And sometimes we have like a review meeting and I'm reminded, oh my God, this person's got a head full of this stuff. Okay, I get it. They're a financial. They are. But all of our interactions are so meaningful. I look forward to these meetings.
What a great thing to aim for, right? Like have for your clients to say, I can't wait to meet with Dennis. Can't wait for our next meeting, or to leave and go, man, that's one of the best conversations we've ever had.
I've ever had. Imagine saying to your buddy, you know that stuff that I've been talking to you about that we go crazy about? Yeah, Brendan, he's the guy that talked to me about it. Like we went to this meeting, Sharon and I, we talked about our like, don't your advisors tell you the same thing? My best clients, we have a meeting, we talk about finances for 10 minutes. And then we talk about life and what it's all about. And all I'm saying is don't let those conversations be random, be deliberate. You should have like I won't get into the weeds, but I make sure that people have like a 2-year communication plan based on that secret they have. So the value of the relationship is not built on the service schedule, which is review meetings, etc. It's built on a transformation schedule, and the review meetings and the financial planning is bolted onto that. It's the other way around. The value is the personal growth. I think you spoke at his conference too. Andy Hart fell over in the UK. Okay, so I'm letting him have it.
Humans under management.
In 1995, I said it's assets under care. It's humans under management. It's who are you helping the human become? That's your job.
95, you were ahead of your time.
Way ahead, man. In fact, who did I just talk to recently? Guy in Chicago, his name's Arthur Zards. I think he's also a member of the WXO. He's a super nerd.
WXO, the
World Experience Organization, of which I am a pioneering member. So I hired Arthur to help me stage a better keynote. Hey, help me out. I want to be better. So I hired him with this idea. It's really cool. So he goes, okay, I'm really happy about this. He goes, hey, just before we start, can I just say something? I go, yeah. He goes, when I met you in Chicago all those years ago, I go, yeah. He goes, wow, we were ahead of it. I was like, I had no idea how ahead of it I was. When my career started, I couldn't understand what had happened. Like I just went and talked about stuff that was really obvious. Do you really think they think about you and their money all the time? No, they think about like life. And talk to them about that. This was my very first idea I ever had. This to date myself. Ready? I said to an advisor, why don't you go rent a cyber cafe? Do you even know what I'm talking about, by the way? A cyber cafe?
Me? No.
So when the internet was new, we didn't all have it. So you'd go to a coffee shop called a cyber cafe, and you could sit down in a cyber cafe and go online, and play Dungeons and Dragons or whatever the hell you did.
Now cyber cafes are everywhere.
Well, now cyber cafes are us on our phones connected. But this was like, no, go to the coffee shop. There's computers and you pay for time there to use the computer. So I said, why don't you go there, rent one of those places for the night? He'll cater the whole thing. You probably rent the whole thing for $300. Coffee, muffins, they'll give you all that. And get the guy to explain to your clients, retirees, what the hell the internet is. Then sign them up, get them a Hotmail account. No joke. All these clients of yours know is that their grandkids are on the internet and they don't know what the hell that is. So he later tells me, he goes, that was amazing. I go, yeah. He goes, Dennis, when the cafe owner said www means World Wide Web, because the whole room went, oh, that's what that means. Okay. So I started all of this saying, get the hell out of the money. These people want something to do. They feel like they're getting, this particular group of retirees, they feel like they're getting left behind. Lead them. Become a charismatic leader. Share your big idea. Have rituals. Have gatherings. And then what is it's a word that makes people uncomfortable because half of your listening audience is in one. What does every cult have in common? An elaborate onboarding process. I'm going to give you a benefit of the doubt here and say present company excluded. Most everybody that tells you how to have the best meeting you've ever had tells you how to have an efficient one.
Yeah.
What's the executioner of experience? Efficiency. What do I want? If I taught you how to have the greatest meeting you've ever had, it's the most memorable meeting they'll ever attend, the most meaningful, deeply, deeply personal, and in fact, transformational. It's not about we're professionals, trust us, we know what we're doing. It's I'm the greatest thing that ever happened to you in your entire life and you never even saw me come.
What's funny is that so when I built and put out the Ultimate Intro Meeting and the Ultimate Discovery Meeting courses, put those out into the world, the idea was, how do you deliver the ultimate meeting, right? Like, how do you get people to leave and say that's the best conversation I've had around money, and put together the framework to do it and how to guide these conversations, get people to open up, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And so part of it was like, hey, as you're going along, if you have questions or you want to talk, do a little one-on-one, let me know. And so I would say probably one of the top 2 questions that I got was, okay, how long are these meetings supposed to be? Like, how long do I need to make these? And it's like, I get it. I get where you're coming from, but I think we're asking the wrong questions.
Yeah.
Like, how long do they have to be? No. How long do they need to be? Like, how long can they be? Well, yeah, maybe to a certain degree, but I mean, like at some level, it's like, yeah, I mean, to your point though, it's like, you're optimizing for the wrong outcome. We're not trying.
You're looking the wrong way. You're absolutely right. Zappos, they used to celebrate. Zappos shoe store, online shoe store, would celebrate the person, the employee who spent the most time on the phone with a client, not the least, the most. No, I don't. That's an impression. I don't want people.
Yeah.
Like it tells you a lot about where people are at. Can I just do it quicker? Why, do you find them distasteful? Did having them around you make you feel all oily and gross? No. How long can it be? I had a guy said to him, I'd love to get this implemented. Wouldn't it be amazing if nobody could become your client unless they attended a 2-day seminar? Do you want to be my client?
You said you know somebody that did that?
No, I suggested it to. I said, I'd love to see someone take this on. No. If you want to be my client, there's only one thing you can do. You come to my retreat. And my next one is here. Come to that. And if it's going to cost you X number of dollars. I'm not making any money on it, but I can't buy your business. So it's going to cost you this much. This is what it's all about. Come to that. And if you like that, I'd love to have you as a client.
Dennis, you're crazy. Why would I do that? I got to they're sitting there ready to be a client. We got to get them in, get them signed some paperwork.
Well, if that's their reality, that's their reality. I'm saying, hey, if I'm starting from scratch, that's what I would want. Like, no. I'm so amazing they line up.
Yeah.
Oh, no, there's something this guy's got that nobody else has. It's this thing. He thinks this way. It's really, really cool. I heard it from my friend. They did this whole thing. He helped them with a personal mission statement. It was incredible. Now it hangs in their kitchen. I want that. They say they're happier. We're going to bring them up twice in one podcast. Very first time I ever met Brian Portnoy was about 206 years ago. I met him at a conference in Rhode Island, Wells Fargo, and I was trapped in the room. It's like Dennis has finished speaking, and now we're gonna have a money guy talk. I just try to get the hell out of there. Oh God, another one of these guys. They're horrible. But it was Brian. He wasn't horrible. He stood up and look what he went and did with himself. So he was giving everybody a peek at what he was thinking about. And at the end, that's when we became friends. I walked up and said, brother, I tried to get the hell out of here. Am I ever glad I couldn't make it? It was a weird room. I was trapped. And one of the things I remember he said, it was something like, if you have a financial advisor, you'll decrease your arguments with your spouse by 47%. It was something like that. I was like, that's the whole business right there. That's like, I was thinking, I'm looking at all this room of advisors thinking, do you realize what he just told you? That's the whole business. I went to another guy's office one time in Arizona, and he had all of, what's Carl's last name? Carl, the artist guy.
Carl Richards.
Yeah. I know if I would have had another moment, I would have known that. I've never met him either, by the way. So I'm in these people's office and I see his stuff. All like the cool Sharpie stuff he does. I'm going crazy for it.
Yeah.
This is so cool. Oh my God, I love this. So I sit down. I was brought in by, at the time, Putnam Investments to meet with this RIA team. So I sit down around the table. They're all there. I'm like, oh my God. I started giving them compliments. I go, this stuff is incredible. And they're all looking at me. I go, can I assume that your experience is built around these ideas? They didn't even know what do you mean? I said, well, I'm just so taken by this stuff. It's so fantastic. I'm asking, is this, speaking of companies that want to delight me, that's the gate at the airport asking me where I am. They're calling me personally. Other people, they just let the plane leave and let them be miserable. This is gate 1 calling from Billy Bishop Airport. I'll be going home later.
There you go. And an example of experience live on the spot. I mean, where else can you get that?
these advisors, they just bought art. Like they were, I assumed they were going to say, yes, that's it. These are the concepts and the ideas that we're teaching people.
Yeah.
No, they're like, what do you mean? Like, what do you mean? What do I mean? What do I mean is, what's his most famous? That's them calling me again. Things that matter, things you should focus on, all that stuff. I just assume like sort of like the 10 commandments on not 10 commandments, the stations of the cross, that's almost what these are. Like, and they literally, they're like, no, we sort of, I think, hey, Jim, where did you find those? Yeah, no, Jim just bought them. We hung them up. Yeah. They didn't become my client. I was like, oh my God, I found my people. No, they just were buying stuff to hang on the wall because it looked cool. And I think that was the first time I reached out to Carl. It's like, oh my God, I'm in an office with all your stuff. It's incredible. I love it.
Yeah, I love that. It's a great story. And as a result of that, is that how you, did you get to know him because of that? Because he reached out for that one reason?
I've never met him.
Oh, still never met him. Okay. All right. I was going to say, but is this another example of you thinking to reach out and connect with somebody that led to, okay.
No, I'm different. I know a lot of people and then there's still a million people that don't know me. Like if you post something on LinkedIn, I like it.
Well, you said you want to be the secret.
That's it. So say you post something specifically because this happens and I think, oh, I like that. And there's 28 people that'll comment on it. If I click on that, I never know anybody in your list. They're all second. Instead of, me, we both know this guy. Now, clearly, you and I know a lot of the same people. But, my point there is the world's really big, man.
Yeah, that's right.
You can, whatever.
We could keep going for a while. I know we could. But for the sake of efficiency, I suppose. Maybe this is the question. It's like, wait, hang on. Efficiency would say you should pause, but maybe it's the enemy of efficiency is the enemy of experience. So maybe we're ruining the experience. But for the sake of time and maybe efficiency, although I don't know if anybody would say that a hour and a half long podcast is efficient, but
you and I started talking at about 2. That's when you and I and our friend Wendy in the background got online. When we lined this all up, I figured it'd take an hour. Billy Bishop Airport is right there. Downtown Toronto, the Island Airport, right across from the Sky Dome. Figured we'll wrap at 3, take a 20-minute Uber, 4 p.m. That's now. I'm going to board that airplane, fly home, be home for 5. Okay? That ain't happening. Now go back to what I said. Magic is one person spending more time on something than anybody would ever think is reasonable. So what I'm saying is, at some point I realized I'm going to miss that flight, and I don't care because I got this chance to talk to you and everybody else, and I'm going to be as generous with my time, so much so nobody would ever believe anybody really do it. At the end, what's the end of this story going to be? Hey, when did you finally get home? I caught a flight at 10 p.m. No way. Buddy, I was happy to do it. That's experience. It's like, no, I'm in, man. I'm in. I'm going to do it. If I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it all in. And just like, so last night I met my social media people. I had dinner with them up in north 10 kilometers from here. And they gave me a lovely couple of gifts. Okay. And then I forgot them in the back Uber. Oh.
Let's hope they don't listen to this.
So I call the Uber guy and I say, oh, dude. And if you go through the Uber app and you say, I forgot something in the car, they kind of make it official. Like they let the driver know there's something in your back seat. And they kind of make it like the person's got to bring it to you. Okay.
Yeah.
So anyway, when I call him, I say, because it says, do you want to call him? I call him. He goes, oh yeah, it's right here. I said, my friend, I feel terrible. There was a Raptors game last night. The street was packed. It was really tough to get down to me. I was like, I feel so bad. The guy says to me, remember I told you earlier? The guy was amazing. He goes, no, you're like my brother, man. I don't want you to suffer. I don't want you to suffer. You're like my brother. I'm going to get this to you. Isn't that lovely? He drove me 10 kilometers down the road. Now we're brothers. That is a generous man. I loved him. I loved him for it. It's like, you're amazing, man. Wicked karma, bro. It's coming your way. Made him a little favorite. Hopefully I'll get him again when I'm in Toronto.
As we sort of wrap up and get into the rapid fire 3-pack, there's this thought that keeps coming into my mind as we're talking, as you're explaining all this throughout the whole conversation. And this is what I keep thinking. It's like, Everything that you're talking about, saying, creating this experience, getting people to make it memorable, to get them to tell the story so that somebody goes, oh, wow, like I want to be a part of that. And it's almost like the at the core of all of it is just like caring about another person. Like, that's what I mean, maybe that's too
100%.
simple, but I keep thinking like all this is just I care about the other person. I'm not faking it. I actually genuinely care. And so this is a byproduct of just like simply caring, which to me, then I think like, how is that? Why is that a differentiator? Why is that something that sets it apart? But
because people are pricks. Because it's the only industry I can think of where you can do so well and all you actually have to do is care about other people. And if you want that to be sustainable and enjoyable, make it your secret that you're sharing. This thing you want, you'll use your business to teach the world. And you'll, like me, 30 years later, you're like, I still love it. I still love turning the lights on for everybody and making them look at it differently. I still love it. And that's it. It's all about generously caring about people that need your help. My dad once said to me, if you scratch people right under the paint, he said, they're suffering. And your job is to heal them. And I believe it. Anytime I post something like that, I get so much pushback you wouldn't believe. I just mute people. I'm the king of muting. I mute people all the time. Mute. I don't want to hear from you anymore. I don't agree with you. You're not even alive to me.
Yeah, right.
Heal them.
But you're not changing to appease them. You're saying your authentic self with your beliefs and the things that you believe in.
You watch the comments you're going to get on this thing. There'll be all kinds of people who can't stand me. Let's do your 3 rapid fires. These guys are going to throw me out of my room any second.
Rapid fire 3-pack. Here we go. You get to give one book to everybody that's listening. What would it be?
The Experience Economy by Joe Pine is the most significant book I read in my life. Joe Pine and Jim Gilmore, runner-up, linchpin, Seth Godin. I buy it for everyone who's lost.
All right, Experience Economy and linchpin.
Yeah.
You get, who is, by the way, I think it would actually be kind of fun if they just broke in and told you it was time to leave. That would make for some great audio, by the way.
They're going to literally any second.
Yeah, okay, good. I actually hope they do. That'll be fun. All right. Who is the best listener in your life, and what does that person do so well to make them such a great listener?
That would be my dear friend Anik Glusich, who's my ski partner. I love him. I love skiing with him. I love the drive up. I love the drive back. Best conversations I ever have. He never interrupts. He never judges. He's clearly listening and paying attention. He asks clarifying questions. Is this what you mean? And he sort of reflects and he is open himself. So Anik, easily the best listener I know.
A lot of good listening qualities there.
Yeah.
All right. Last one. And we may have already gotten a glimpse into your answer here based on something you said earlier, but you get the opportunity now to hang a poster in the wall or in the office of every advisor around the world. Not that their clients are going to see, so you're not trying to influence the clients. It's their office with a message. What would it say?
It wouldn't have any words on it. It would be a screen grab of Julie Andrews as Maria Von Trapp dancing in the mountaintop framed on the wall behind them. Here's why. Someone's going to ask, what's with the Julie Andrews poster on your wall? She's the patron saint of good work. There's 2 kinds of work in the world. There's the assigned work. It's what you get hired to do. It all competes on price. And there's the required work. And what makes Maria Von Trapp a hero is she courageously chooses herself to do the work that's required and not assigned. The assigned work is, I need a governess. She said, okay. And then she saw everything going on in that house and knew what she needed to do. I'm talking about The Sound of Music. Of course, she chose to do it without being asked. She took it on herself. So I'd have that up on the wall so that somebody said, why do you have that? And I'd explain that to them. And then I'd say, I'm Maria. And what you're asking me to do, assigning work, is come up with a financial plan. But the value I will bring to your life is the required work.
Nicely done. All right. If you hear that, that's the door knocking. He's about to get kicked out. For anybody that's thinking, hey, I want to know more, want to learn more, need to get some more Dennis Moseley-Williams in my life, where should they go?
See, now normally I'll say this, come and find me. My name's Dennis Moseley-Williams. Google me.
Oh, yeah. This is not going to help keep you a secret. Or if you just want to leave it at that, it might.
Yeah, it's up to you. Come and find me. I learned that from, we'll talk about that some other time. I learned that from Bill Murray, the actor. He has no publicist or agent. If you want to find me, come and find me.
Go find him. All right, Dennis.
Thanks, man.
It's been great. Thank you for being here, and get out of here before they kick you out of the hotel.
Right on, brother. Thanks, man.
Content here is for illustrative purposes and general information only. It is not legal, tax, or individualized financial advice, nor is it a recommendation to buy, sell, or hold any specific security or engage in any specific trading strategy. Information here may be provided in part by third-party sources. These sources are generally deemed to be reliable. However, neither our guest nor RFG Advisory guarantee the accuracy of third-party sources. The views expressed here are those of our guest. They do not necessarily represent those of RFG Advisory, its employees, or its clients. This commentary should not be regarded as a description of advisory services provided by RFG Advisory or performance returns of any client. The views reflected in the commentary are subject to change at any time without notice. Securities offered by registered representatives of Private Client Services, member FINRA SIPC. Advisory services offered by investment advisory representatives of RFG Advisory, LLC, RFG Advisory or RFG, a registered investment advisor. Private Client Services and RFG Advisory are unaffiliated entities. Advisory services are only offered to clients or prospective clients where RFG Advisory and its representatives are properly licensed or exempt from licensure. No advisory services may be rendered by RFG Advisory unless a client agreement is in place. RFG Advisory is an SEC-registered investment advisor. SEC registration does not constitute an endorsement of RFG by the Commission, nor does it indicate that RFG or any associated investment advisory representative has attained a particular level of skill or ability.